fades out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is KickASSery. And what better way to start off the new season than to screw up right out of the box? I am Dale Maxwell. This is KickASSery, and I am excited for the new season of KickASSery to be here. I have to be a little honest. I'm a little nervous because it's been 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. 5 years. For some of our guests, it's been dang near 6 years since KickASSery has been on the tubes. Facebook. It was originally on Facebook. This season, I'm super excited. We're on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. This is super exciting. And I feel like this is our first guest coming back on has been one of my biggest supporters in life and business. He has done so much for me. I try to tell him all the time how much I appreciate him and what he's done for me. And he just kind of goes, it's all good, which just goes to show his level of ass kickery. I think I'm going to patent that, ass kickery. Anyway, on the show today, Jason Sargent. Jason is a husband, a dad, a business owner, community leader, phenomenal friend, mentor. This man has gone from zero to hero several times in his life. I've had the opportunity to witness that a little bit, and I have been so excited to see his growth and his trajectory on where he's going still. So I have a little questionnaire that I'm having all of our guests fill out. And one of the questions is, what has happened since the last time we sat down on KickASSery? This is what it is. He bought yet another business, moved into a larger facility. And we're going to get into this next part because I was a part of this. Part of that business took him on a 17,000-mile, 29-state, 31-day road trip to do work. He's visited over 46 states and 14 countries. He has a whole list of more countries to get to. I think he's scheduled to hit the last 4 states here very soon to roll that out. I am excited, stoked, humbled to have Jason on the show. Jason's jacket. I appreciate you. Hey, there you are. Hey,
sorry, I was downstairs.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Jason, brother, man, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I know that, when you do a TV show, whatever, you do the pilot, and that's where it sails or fails. And I apologize.
No, you're it. You're the one that is going to make this work. And if it doesn't make this work, then you have a very comfy couch that I'm going to have to sleep on.
There we go.
Just so you know. So what do you want to add to what I said? Who are you to you?
So those 46 states and 14 countries were in the past 22 months or something like that. It's been ridiculous. I heard a term last night. There was a difference between traveler and vacationer. And I think I realized that I'm a traveler because I want to keep moving, and I don't do real good at the sitting and waiting.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm also the producer. So if I'm over here clicking around, that means I'm trying to figure stuff out. So just bear with me for a minute. Now, Jason, in that amount of time, you've also moved in the last 5 years.
Yes.
So new house.
Home and business.
Moved your house, your business, added a business. No, you've added more than one business.
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah, because I think you also have your bicycle company as well.
Yeah. That's
I know it's not huge, but you're doing it.
It's
So multiple business owner, moved your house, moved your shop, grew your business phenomenally. Um, your babies are growing up. Your babies are doing amazing things. You've been all over the world, which I have some things I want to share with everybody else. Um, okay, hey, everything's working. Cool beans. So with that, where do you want to go? Where's your next go to?
in relation to, are we business? Are we personal? Are
Personal,
we traveling?
personal.
Travel wise, we're planning a Peru, Machu Picchu, Inca Trail trip and some of that. We're taking the employees down to a cabin down southeast Oklahoma. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, one of the weekends in October. We're just going to do
Wow.
a 4-day employee retreat and feed them and let them go play and have fun.
Are you hiring remotely?
Yeah, could be remote. I don't know.
My dog keeps going back and forth. That's Sugar, by the way, everyone. Um, business wise, where are you going next?
That's what we've been trying to figure out. I keep shopping new stuff, um, but we want to get this to the point. We just rolled out a new employee incentive bonus structure Friday with them that will give them some ownership type capabilities in the business. And we're hoping that will kick us out of here some so that we can get somewhat remote ourselves.
I love it. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta brag on Jason for a minute. And Jason, this is where you get to go. Shh.
Yeah.
And Jason hates it when I do this, and I'm okay with that. Here's the thing, and correct me in any of these things, Jason, is Jason and I met in Boise when I was still in Boise, just out of college. I had just started a cell phone shop with a buddy, and Jason had a sign shop there in Boise, probably one of the top 2, 3 shops in town, easily. And he had built it from zero and gone all the way up. What was your shop originally
It
that you
was an
bought?
it was a Pennzoil oil change facility that was open for about 9 months.
So you bought an
We
oil
bought
shop.
the cleanest oil shop in America, probably.
So you bought an oil shop, you built a business out of it, a sign shop.
Yep.
And then my buddy and I opened a cell phone shop, and you did all of our banners. We had the biggest coverage signs of all the cell phone carriers
Yeah.
on the walls, and Jason did all of that, right? And then we went out of business. Now, before we get there though, Jason, you took us under your wing. You had known my partner longer than you'd known me, and you took us under a wing, and you took me. I know you took me to basketball games and a bunch of stuff, because that was the relationship that we had built, because I met you also through my roommate at the time. So there was several connections there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of meant to be. Fast forward, our business goes under. We made bad choices, and we didn't leave you in a very good place. We actually still owed you money. We still owed you some contracts.
I think you
And
still do, and that's been gaining some good interest.
no, I thought I worked that off.
Okay, fine.
I thought,
We're good.
and so we lost contact with each other for what, 3, 4 years, 5 years, something
Yeah.
like that. And here's the crazy thing about life. My wife joins the military. I'm an Army wife. So we ended up in Oklahoma. I had completely lost track of Jason this whole time. I'm on the book face and you pop up and I see you're in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So did I message you or call you? I think I messaged you.
I can't remember. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know. And I was really nervous and I was like, I know I still owe this guy money. And I was like, okay. So I sent him a message. I was like, hey, I'm in Oklahoma too. And he's like, dude, gives me your number. We call. He's like, you got to come up into the house and you got to check this out. And dude, let's done. I mean, it was like no bad blood. Everything was good. And I go up and meet you. And I remember because you were really into your mountain biking, like heavy. And we connected. And that's when I started my print brokerage.
Yeah.
You helped me out with that a ton. And that just carried, you know? And of course, then we ended up all over the world and all over the country. And fast forward a handful of years, you call me and you're like, hey, want to go on a road trip? I need some help. There are days I think I should have said no.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up all of our time with this litany of stories of where we ended up in that 17,000-mile trip in 30 days in 20 some states.
We've done 3 of them now. You should have known better on that one.
Right? Nobody ever accused me of being smart, Jason. Let's get that straight right now. What was that? What was that first trip like in your perspective? What was it?
Oh, the very first one? Oh, I did not do a very good job of preparing my body for it. I had a headache. So I got there, I drove over one day, started on some cars just because I wanted to dig in to see how it was. We kind of got into it not knowing what we were doing. Started on a rebrand project without having a whole lot of information about what was coming off the cars. And man, I burnt my body up so bad. Bad headache that night. And then I had to meet Dale at 4:30 in the morning or something at the Greyhound station. And we just dug in the next day and ran for
So
3 weeks.
what we were doing was car rebranding. So Jason, along with his sign business, he does car graphics, the vinyl wraps and all that. And he got a contract for a regional rebrand, fleet rebrand. And how many cars did we do that first run?
130.
130.
And actually, that guy just is getting back into the business. The guy that sold out is just getting back into the business. So we're going to be going to Mississippi beginning of the year to do 25 new cars for him. So
See,
interesting how it keeps falling.
because you do it right and you set the expectations and you exceed expectations. And back to that story, I don't think I'll ever ride a Greyhound again,
Oh, yeah.
ever. That was harrowing. I've been on Greyhounds out west. That's my first East Coast Greyhound, and I'm fairly certain the bus driver fell asleep once, almost got in a car accident a second time, and the clientele that rides the bus out there is interesting.
Yes.
We'll say it that way.
I remember the stories.
Yeah, it was, and the layover in Cincinnati was interesting as well. So yes, oh, there goes my cat. So everybody's showing up today.
What?
So yeah, show up there stupid early, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm not awake. I need some breakfast. And Jason picks me up. And so I'm thinking, all right, we're going to roll into this. We're going to soft roll into this. He's going to talk me through it. Yeah. 15 minutes later, he's like, all right, there's the car. Here's the tools. Let's get to work. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. What are we doing? And the level of learning. So these cars were, I would say, what, 60% covered?
Yeah.
Doors, hoods, rear lids
Yep. And then stuff on the back bumper.
on the back bumper, right? And the longer that the vinyl is on a car, the harder it is to take off.
Absolutely.
And if you're in the South, which we started in what, Alabama? No. Where did we start?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, that's right.
Knoxville? Knoxville.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in South, then you have the heat and the sun as well that just makes it worse. So we showed up with these tools right here,
They were,
thumbnails.
they were broken soon after that.
I ended up losing both thumbnails
Sorry.
from so you pick it up, you pick it, and then you peel it, and then you pick and you peel, and you pick and you peel, and then you hopefully you can get a whole sheet to go. Well, so you pick, that thumb gets sore, and then you pick. Well,
Yes.
then you pick with this finger, and then you pick with this finger, and then you pick with this finger, and then by that time you're having to start over again. Yeah, 100 but what? We learned.
Yes.
Um, we went, that's where you found the plastic razor blades.
Yep.
That's where we learned, and didn't we pick up the wheel on that trip?
No, that was the next one, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, maybe
So, but we had scheduled how many weeks to do this job?
5 or 6.
And we did it in
3.
3.
Yeah.
And we were also only supposed to be able to work on them like 8 to 5 weekdays.
Sorry, Maria.
We kind of said, no, that's going to take 7 months.
Yeah.
So the thing that I respect about you, Jason, is you take on jobs, you look at it, you learn, you push the envelope, not out of arrogance, but you push the envelope for productivity, for quality, and so that you can take care of your people, you can take care of your clients, and thus what we did so many years ago is coming back around and you're doing more business for that original client.
Yeah, because we did basically a repeat of that trip a year later, almost to the day, that we went, okay, we can do this in 3 weeks. We know we can do this in 3 weeks. And we turned that one in 9 days or something. And it just,
Well, there was an extenuating circumstance in that trip
hey,
that
wasn't, yeah,
lit the fire. And okay, let me add the other appreciation I have to you is that you and I went into it going, okay, yeah, this should be a lot easier. We can not take our time, but we know how to do it. We have better tools. We're better equipped. And so this shouldn't be as hard on our bodies to do this one. Well, my mother-in-law was really, really sick, and I got the phone call that says, you need to come home. And so for me, that's really hard because I felt stuck because I was committed to you, but I have to get home. And Jason's like, all right, let's pour it on. And I have never met somebody that works as hard or harder than this man right here. When he says, let's get it done, there's no sleep. We just got it done. And you pushed me so hard in the right ways. And yeah, we got that 80 some cars or whatever it was done in 9 days.
130 again. Yeah.
I was way off.
It was dumb. But yeah, anyway, math.
And I got home in time, drove from Oklahoma to Idaho in 30 hours, whatever it was, 20 some hours, drove straight through, made it home because you said, all right, we can do this. Give us 3 more days, whatever it was. And we just worked. I feel like that also set the precedent for when you called and said, hey, we have 1,600 cars. Let's do it again. We have 1,600 cars. Can we do it? Maybe.
Yeah.
But you have the capacity to learn from your experiences, and you're so analytical looking at the scenario and going, okay. And I love listening to your math brain. Your math brain is next level. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell Jason, dude, stop. I don't, you got to break that down elementary. Sorry. And he does. There's no judgment. But then walking into that one, we went from sleeping in the car on the first trip to doing hotels a little bit more on the second trip, to how did you prepare us for that 29 states, 1,400 and some car, 1,500 cars?
We went and bought a motorhome this time. We figured that was going to be, we needed a place to stick 1,600 sets of graphics and 3 people, and that seemed like the way to do it.
That was
Uh,
genius.
would not have happened the same any other way.
No. And you put together a really good team. That was something that, when you get 3 people in less than, I don't know, what is that? 600 square feet, that motorhome,
Yeah, not much.
and you're in it 24 hours a day. We put in 18, 20-hour days, some days. You're eating on the road. You're going to the bathroom on the road. You have to have some special people to be able to handle that.
We had a great group.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to feel privileged, because Jason saved some of his words for his day to right now so he could share them with us, because when he hits his capacity of, I have said my words for the day, he's done.
Yes. Yeah,
He's done. Done.
17. 17 is my cap.
And we're at 32 already.
Yeah,
So we are
not
very privileged,
the rest of the week. I'm out.
because I'd be driving, Jason be sitting in the passenger seat, and the more tired I get, the more I run my mouth, because I'm just trying to keep moving. And I'm talking, and there's no response. And I'm talking, there's no response. I look over, he's awake, and he's there, but there's every once in a while, yeah,
I thought you were just
no.
providing me information. I was just gathering it in, and yeah.
And then there was Denton and I,
Oh yeah.
and we were 2 jabber mouths that I'm sure you sat in the back many times and be like, why are they still talking?
It was hilarious.
How?
It was incredible.
But yeah, we put in a lot of miles. Now, I want to shift away from that story, and you've worked your face off, brother. And you've worked your face off from the bottom to the top several times.
At least from the bottom. I don't know about the top.
Well, current top.
Okay.
And
As far as my capacity takes me.
That is, I don't know, for anybody to, and I'm not trying to minimize anything, brother, because when we all have our different bottoms, and when we hit that, it's easy to just stay there. It's easy to just get comfortable in that. And I'm not saying it wasn't hard, and I'm not saying you didn't go through your challenges in those processes. What I admire so much about you is when you made the decision to go, all right, we're doing this. Holy buckets, it's been an amazing thing to watch. and getting the phone calls, or, making the phone calls, and Jason, what's up? Oh man, I'm doing this, this, and this, and I'm talking about this, and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about this, and I'm processing this. And I'm like, oh my, and it's just one level and a level and a level and a level. And I'm just in awe of you, man.
Thank you.
It's how do you, and I'm not saying this you're this way every single day, but how do you stay motivated, and how do you continue to work towards that next level? What is that for you?
I think a lot of days it's just sprung on me, and I have to react to the challenges I'm faced with, and so it leaves me not a whole lot of other choices. We've had some employee challenges the last several weeks, and I've got to play print provider instead of play business manager, business owner, and just doing what's required. Same thing from the road trips. Nobody else is going to do it, so I've just got to jump in and do it. Um, I don't want to get emotional on this, and so I'm gonna super quick just kind of share. You had talked about the shop in Boise, and yeah, we built that from the ground to going. We were probably the most recognized sign shop in Boise within 9 months or a year from opening. We were approached by a customer at the time, and I was back and forth between Oklahoma and Idaho. I had a granny that had breast cancer #2 that had passed away just right as we'd moved down, and an uncle with colorectal cancer. And so we kind of bridged that gap to be partial caretakers. We had great employees in Boise, and I kind of left it to them, but I still did 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 1 week on, 1 week off, and was approached by a customer that ultimately drove the business into the ground. I came home one day after selling a bunch of our stuff to be able to have a house payment and a building payment because we still own property there in Boise. And the car got repoed. And that's a new thing. Car got repoed with a bicycle that I just bought that was going to be my transportation to where I was working that was 19 miles away, and $2,800 in cash in it, laptop. It was just, fortunately, our neighbors saw it, and fortunately, the tow truck driver's like, "Yeah, get your stuff out of it."
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been a little rougher shape. And I sat there and dwelt in that for years. And sometimes you just have to make that decision to get up, and that getting up is hard. Um, to kind of give the getting up story, my wife and I were attending remedial college, basically what it was, and we had to write a report on, hey, what am I going to do with my degree? I thought, well, crap, chiropractic. I've looked at chiropractic a few times. So I went and looked at some chiropractic schools and figured out that by the time I got out, I was going to be such age, and that age feels really old, so I don't want to say it right now still, because I'm close now. So we just figured out that I was going to be that old, and I was going to have to buy an existing chiropractic office because I didn't want to spend the next 7-8 years growing one to finally get to an income level that we were going to be able to build towards retirement. And so it was at that moment where I went, okay, well, I've done these things before. Why am I investing $300,000 in chiropractic school, and how many years? I mean, we can do something now. So we took some little bit of money that the business had been bringing in, new business had been bringing in, and found a printing shop that was for sale, and grew that way. And then 4 months later, bought another one and grew again. And 2 years later, found another one. And the amazing thing is that we took that initial $25,000, and that has, in the past 6 or 7 years, 6.5 years, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on it. We have spent $2.5 million out of that business that has financed itself to build what we've got going on right now.
That's amazing. So
This doesn't go to the IRS, does it?
no.
Okay.
Nobody's actually going to see
Protected
this.
from
This
it.
is
Thank you, CIA. Uh,
that right there. And I had the privilege of having the opportunity to be on phone calls with you during that process, and just, you're like, yeah, I'm looking into this, and then I talked to you 3 weeks later, and you're like, yeah, I went ahead and bought it, and now we're doing this, and now we're moving here, and I'm like, holy bucket! It was amazing, absolutely amazing to watch that projection and trajectory. I mean, and now I'm going to share this here in a minute, to see what you and your wife have been able to go do as a husband and wife.
yeah.
And
Having the right one to support you is a key. And
big,
if you don't have that support in the house, in the home, you have to find it outside. And don't take that the wrong way. Find friends, find groups, find
mentors.
anything to go chase that. That might be YouTube, that might be books, whatever you need to go chase those things.
Yeah. Amen.
Whether
Amen.
it's financial, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional healing, any of those things. There are supports out there for those things.
I agree, brother.
I am more than happy to talk to anybody that comes across this about my experiences and digging into their business and figuring out how we could be better.
And he's right. You want to talk about being able to analyze a business very quickly. Jason gets very tired of seeing my messages and my calls, because there's a lot of times I'm like, hey, I got an idea, what do you think? And he's like, crap, okay, so here's what you're gonna do. Here's what you're not gonna do. But
Transparency.
he still answers the call.
Transparency. My brother and I have had the same conversation for the past 28, 30 months. And so finally, 6 or 8 months ago, I said, how long are we going to keep having the same conversation? Because you keep asking me the questions, I give you my analysis, and you won't do anything with them. So call me when you have a different conversation to have.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting here today, Jason, because you told me several months ago, do it. Do it. Why are you not doing it? And so I owe you
No. But thank you.
So
you got emotional instead of me. So
you're welcome.
I call this a win.
You're welcome.
My dad
You knew what's going to happen.
My dad always said he cried at little league baseball games. So,
yep. So I want to move on to what you and your wife have been able to accomplish. So see if this works. So I was honestly trying to get her instead of him to be on the show.
It would have been way better.
Okay, where are you here?
This is at the Luxor in Egypt. The Luxor, interesting story. They had built a mosque on top of it, and didn't realize it was there after all so the Luxor and, oh, somebody's going to have more knowledge than me on it. It was all connected by a 5 kilometer, 3 mile walkway that they had built in between the two. And that's where they would take the statues of Ramses and Nefertari. It was a year ago. I don't remember now. They would walk them up and down, and that's how they would take them to meet the people. So they built the mosque on top of this, and they were doing some excavating to make the mosque bigger one time, and came across Luxor, which is one of the most famous sites in Egypt. It's just weird that sand covered it for
That's crazy.
2,500 years.
That's crazy.
Great Pyramids of Giza.
How was that?
I wouldn't do it again. No,
Okay.
it was really
Okay.
good. Actually, Sphinx in the background too.
So it's one of those. I mean, there's a lot of
No.
things in life where it's like, did it? Don't really want to do it again, but it was super cool that I did it.
No, as much as they still discover over there, it would be so cool to go back in 10 years and just see what they'd ran across.
Yep.
So this was, last year, about this time, Thanksgiving. And yep, not Egypt.
I wore this shirt for this.
Yeah. This was, we had a really good year last year. The road trip was that, and the road trip helped. And we spoiled and surprised our 2 girls. Well, two of our girls. We have at one time had 4 teenage daughters and a son who was just barely older. So yeah, now we're down to 3 teenage daughters. We've got
Wow.
a senior and a junior, and then hopefully more freedom. But we surprised them and spoiled them and took them to Bora Bora for Christmas.
That's amazing. And then
the start of the road trip. And
that was our chariot.
Our new friend, Connie Lou.
Yes. So where Jason's sitting there is where I spent
16,000 miles. You drove
16?
most of the way.
15,000 miles
Yeah.
of it. I didn't drive the whole thing. You
No.
guys, you drove a chunk of it, but
I think Denton had like 3 miles to go get gas one time, and that was it. But
yeah, he didn't want to. He was like,
No.
nope,
No.
I'm good. So, and I kind of jumped in the seat and I'm like, okay, I'm driving. If you guys
Yeah.
are okay with it, I'm driving. And so once again, this is a testament to Jason's humility and his ability to support people. I really struggled at the beginning of the trip because, it only took us like 2 days to get into a flow,
Yes.
Denton, you do this better. Jason, this is your thing. I'll take on this thing. And we just clicked, and which made it, oh my gosh, made it so good. And then into that, it was like, okay, if we're all sharing drive time, to me, this was my thinking. I was like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because we very quickly, it showed that we were putting in crazy hours so that we can get stuff done. And I was like, I'll take driving privileges. I'll jump in. Then that way you guys can rest. But here's where I struggled with that is the late jobs. During the day, it worked out fine. There was no problems. But I would get to the point where I'm like, okay, for safety, I need some rest. So I would crash out. The guys would work for another 2, 3, 4 hours while I slept. And then I would be the first one up. I'd be in the driver's seat while they're still sleeping, and I would drive.
The sleeping didn't happen for very long, though.
Right. You get that.
Yeah, well, so we had 230 something offices that we were at. So we had an office. We had 8 offices a day, basically.
Yeah.
So we were everywhere.
And I ate 3 of the 5 meals a day sitting right there.
Yes.
And I refused to eat tortillas for a while.
But did you have refrigerated or frozen Hostess cupcakes or anything like that afterwards?
No, not yet.
No.
Actually, I did. I showed the kids after our trip. I was like, "We need to throw this in the freezer. You need to experience this."
I've done it with some guys. Some of our guys will bring lunch in and they'll have ho ho or a ding dong or something. I'm like, throw that in the freezer for a half hour.
Well, for us, it was we were so hot.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, we were so hot, and just it was a sweetness, and then just the coolness, and it changes the texture and everything. But
yeah, because we started
Jason,
at what, April 18th, and we were in the South to start.
yeah,
Well, 4 days in, we had gone 3 days in, 3 days in, we had gone from Oklahoma to Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, through Kentucky, up to Illinois, Indiana, and back into Kentucky and Tennessee. It was ridiculous. Looking at where we were each day was absurd.
well, and it's funny because people are like, "Oh, what'd you think of this area?" I have no idea. Even though
No,
I was driving, I would literally plug in. All right, what's our next stop? Jason, give me the address. Boom, start on the navigation. And I'd drive
yeah,
hour, 2 hours, whatever it was. Get to the next location. Go. Do it again. Go. There are a few of the areas that made a big enough impression on me, like East Tennessee,
yeah.
Eastern Texas, Florida, because I had never been there. You know, those kind of places, North Carolina, like North Carolina. Those
Yep.
kind of places really impacted me because I was like, this is really cool. But
Those
then the
lakes, those lakes,
majority of
in
everything
Georgia.
else, what's that?
Those lakes in northern Georgia.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Um,
we
but the
stopped and
rest of it
played.
is just a blur. I
We
couldn't tell you.
yeah, we stopped and play. I remember stopping and playing frisbee because we were stuck in a
That was Tennessee. That
two.
was
Yeah, it was. It was the hour-long backup or something. So we just got
mhm.
out and played frisbee
Wait,
and waited till traffic moved again.
yep, in the middle of the highway.
Yep.
So, okay, Jason, I'm gonna. I don't want to take your entire evening. If you, what is a piece of advice that you would give your 18-year-old self right now?
Oh, I think I would be divided. Some of it would be about patience, um, and
Knowing yourself then.
yeah, some of it would be about taking action. I think there's a lot of, with my personality and that analytical side of things and perfectionism and stuff coming easy. I'm that guy that does not want to do stuff bad, and that's the 3 road trips we've been on. That's one of the fears is, crap, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how this ends, so I don't want to start it.
Mm,
And
yeah.
yeah, and in the business still right now, I'm like, I don't know how this ends, so I don't want to. But we keep looking at other things. It's just that for us, it's just that diversification of income. And hey, I can go to the bank and make 4.5% right now, or I can go buy a business and make 20 to 40% a year. So the business looks really appealing. Um,
Would you, looking back, knowing the outcomes of the things that's happened in your life and where it's led you to now, my phone is dinging like crazy. Sorry, guys. Um, would you change anything?
I've heard that everything is hard. You get to pick your hard. We've
Mm,
we've experienced some hard, and other people may not have dealt with it as well as we did. Other people may have dealt with it better. I don't know that I would deal with other people's hard as well as they do, and it's inspiring to look at them and go, wow, I couldn't do that. Um, we were just up in Mount Rushmore a couple weekends ago, and the working conditions there were, it'd be hard, but they'd probably look at what we did on the road trip and go, no, thank you. So it's everybody gets their own hard, and everybody gets to make it look really, really easy. And
Yeah.
it's difficult to look at other
Okay.
people and figure that out. Um, would I change anything? I don't. Man, there's things that I wish I would not have had to go through um, during that time of business failure. I guess it wasn't really even business failure. We built a great business in Boise, but just the financial failure afterwards of not being paid. This is my second marriage, and that time in our life played a big role into the end of that first one. And I have an amazing life, an amazing wife right now, and I'm so grateful for that. And she has really just let me shine, supported me, and gone, okay, I can be that step to stand on, and you just go chase what's next. And I've rewarded her, but she's really made it easy for me. But yeah,
I love your wife.
she's,
She's been
we
so good for you.
we didn't really, when she was scheduling us last year and scheduling like 21, 22 hours a day, and we're like, we need to be able to get gas and everything. We need to go shopping. You were leaving this out of the schedule. Anyway,
She wasn't my favorite person in that moment. Okay,
no,
fair enough.
no, but she made that whole trip happen too.
Mhm.
There was not just three of us. There was four of us. And
Amen. 100%. 100%. She dealt with all of the BS on the back end
yep,
and did all of that. Yeah, 100%. No, I, as your brother, am so thankful for her, for you. Um,
thank
yes.
you. So funny story from that trip as well. I don't want to do the whole road trip recap, but we were in North Carolina, a little town in North Carolina, Marion, North Carolina, where we got
Okay.
pizza that night as well. So this funny story from that. But we were mainly doing blue Ford Escapes, and this older lady pulls up because we had 9 of them in a parking lot, and I mean, we had a list of who was going to be there, who was supposed to be there, so we could check them off. And we had people we missed because they didn't show up. But this little old lady comes rolling through, and she goes, "Oh," she was driving a blue Ford Escape, and goes, "Oh, am I missing something? No, are you supposed to be here? Your car doesn't have anything." So we were going through the list, trying to figure out who this gal was, and no, she just saw a whole bunch of the same car, and she was wondering what party she was missing out on. So that was kind
The
of fun.
Blue Escape party was
Yeah,
happening and she wasn't invited.
there's a club that she wasn't invited to. I don't know.
And that's the thing also is I remember on that first trip, we were I don't even remember where we were at. Your memory of where these things happen. I remember the phenomenal conversation with that groundskeeper,
Oh yeah,
um, and the conversation with the peanut peach guy.
in the same town, and I
Same
have been
town.
to that town 7 or 8 times now. That is
Yep.
Clanton, Alabama.
Boiled peanuts
Yeah.
and peaches. That was the best stop. Oh, so good.
We
So
spent
good.
we spent so much time hot on that trip, and then we got snowed on in Oregon. It
Yeah.
was weird.
And so Denton, sorry. Yeah, we're telling stories and that's okay.
Yeah.
So Denton, dude, if you get to see this man, I love you. I miss you, brother. So he's an Oklahoma guy, right? And he's born and raised, die in the wool, Oklahoma. So we get out west and we were in Nevada, our first true hot Western stop
Yeah.
was,
We dodged it in Arizona.
what's that?
We dodged it in Arizona.
Yeah, we did. Absolutely. But we were at, Roswell,
Oh, Roswell, New Mexico.
New
Yeah.
Mexico. Sorry, yeah, Roswell. And it was hot. It was hot. It was 98, 99, and we're in the sun. And
We're in
so we
parking
get,
lots all day long.
oh yeah, asphalt parking lots. So you're getting heat from both directions. So we're there, and I don't know, we had 5 or 6 cars. It wasn't a huge stop. And I'll never forget this. We're working and we're working, and Den pops up. He's like, how do I know when I need to drink? He's like, I'm not sweating. I'm not wet. I'm like, no, you're sweating. It's just there's no humidity. So it is just going immediately. And
Yes.
that was his first experience of dry heat. And he's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not wet. I'm like, yeah. And so of course, me being a smartass, I'm like, yeah, well, when you pass out, you know you've gone too far.
Yes. You should have drank at
Yeah.
least 15 minutes before that.
And so that was the rest of that. And then a day and a half later, so we're there at a dang near 100 degrees, trying to figure out when you drink when you're in dry heat. And we dodged a snowstorm in Oregon in Bend. What, a day and a half later?
Yeah.
2 days later?
Yeah. Because
And
it was 40s, 50s going up through Utah too.
yeah, yeah. And so I saw the storm coming over the mountains, and I'm like, hey, Jason, how well does this stuff go with snow on? And Denton goes, snow? What? I'm like, yeah, that's a snowstorm coming. We probably should get it done. Okay.
Yeah.
I went through there last summer, and I saw one of our cars drive by. I was stopped
Crazy.
to get gas station, and I saw one of our cars drive by.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, brother, I'm going to leave it at this. I appreciate you. I I I can't say enough of what you've done for me. Um, I'm super excited for your trip down here to come visit next year. My daughter and I we're looking at trying to find all the best dive spots so that we can take you around the island. So, any last words for everybody? Pieces of wisdom.
As much as I pretend I don't like people, I need another friend or two. So reach out to me. See if there's some way we can connect. If I ignore you, then the answer was probably no.
Well, then the answer's been no to me many times in our career, sir.
Probably. But you're always there for me too. Anytime
Yes,
I
sir.
come up with some crazy idea, you
Like slapping a chunk of plywood onto your motorhome so you can carry your bicycles.
you barely. I think I figured that out today.
Okay, good.
Yeah, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation.
Good. Brother, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for helping me get this thing going again. This is an incredible journey, and I'm excited for it. So, have an awesome rest of your day. Everybody else, love your face. I wish I could squish it. Talk to you soon.
Bye.